I'd like to have us all thank Rigas Doganis because he's done a fabulous job of moderating two successive panels. Before we go to lunch, we're going to have a very short presentation by a very important charity, which forms an important part of our proceedings today and tomorrow. Peter spoke about the auction that will be conducted, and we urge all of you to participate actively and robustly and bid each other up to the maximum possible extent. iStat Airlink. We're going to have a presentation from the CEO, Bob Brown, and from the chairman of the advisory board to iStat Airlink, Barry Humphries. Each of them, of course, has a day job. Bob's day job is partner at VX Capital Partners out of San Francisco. Barry Humphries is now with the British Air Transport Association. So may I ask Bob and Barry to please come up for the presentation. There they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And I'd like to add my thanks as well, especially to Peter Harbison and CAPA for giving us this opportunity to address you. When I retired as a director of Virgin Atlantic, I had one of those good news, bad news telephone calls from a well-known aviation recruitment company. Good news was they said, "We think we've got a very good opportunity that suits you down to the ground." Bad news was it's a charity and it doesn't pay anything. But it didn't take me long to realize that it was actually a very, very good opportunity that I was very honored to take advantage of. As Jeff said, Airlink is known as the iStat Airlink. It was founded and initially financed by the International Society of Transport Aircraft Trading. And when I was an executive of an airline, I remember being inundated with requests from charities and individuals for free tickets and free transportation and so forth. And I guess what most airline executives would say was, we need a new charity like we need a hole in the head. But Airlink is very different. We haven't got the slides up. It's not only a good cause in itself, but it's a charity devised by aviation people. It doesn't cost airlines anything significantly, and it can actually save airlines money. So what is it about? Fundamentally, we have airlines that even, no matter how well they are run, they fly around with some empty seats, some empty cargo capacity. We have, at times of international disasters, whether large or small, we have NGOs who are desperate to move people and cargo. And what Airlink does is, by means of a web-based system, it brings those two parties together. We've been going now for nearly, I guess, 18 months to 2 years, and we've had some significant success already, but there's a lot more to be done. We have widespread support already in the industry. These are the members of our advisory council. You'll see some well-known names like Bob Crandall. There's James Hogan of Etihad, Mark Dunkley of Hawaiian, and several senior representatives of the aircraft leasing world. We also already have a number of significant airlines participating. In relation to this particular conference, I'd like to draw attention to JetBlue, who have been a great supporter, and Turkish Airlines, who were particularly involved with Airlink during the Turkish earthquake disaster. And we already have several NGOs. This is a few examples. I just mentioned Shelterbox. Shelterbox send emergency supplies in boxes, hence the name, when there's an international disaster. We have an example of one box outside, minus the tent that they also send, because we didn't have room for that. But it's a great opportunity, and I would urge you to support it. I'd like to now hand over to Bob.
Thank you, Barry. The background of Airlink is that we did start 2 years ago, around the same time as the Haitian earthquake occurred, and that was our sort of trial by fire. That disaster was very intense in terms of the airlift, humanitarian airlift component, because it's an island nation, and because in the earthquake many of the ports were damaged, so the shipping lanes were stopped, and for 6 months the country depended on the aviation industry to bring relief and relief workers. So this was our sort of baptism, if you will, and we were able to move quite a few workers and as well as cargo, and on a number of different flights. Since then, we've tried to be active in all the major disasters that have occurred in the world. A few of them would include the earthquake and resulting tsunami in Japan in March of 2011, where JetBlue and Hawaiian and UPS were instrumental in bringing quick aid to Japan. And then in Turkey, as Barry mentioned, Turkish Airlines really went out of their way to deliver these shelter boxes, which immediately gave housing to displaced Turkish citizens. So we're very pleased to establish a relationship with Turkish Airlines in that process. Also, not listed on my slides, but in the Horn of Africa, Etihad was able to carry a great deal of food into country for CARE International. So in these activities, we've developed a certain reputation as being responders to disasters. But what happens when, what are we doing, I should say, when there isn't a disaster going on? And in those times, we are helping the same nonprofits by bringing their people to the vulnerable communities to help them plan and prepare to avoid the terrible outcome that a disaster can bring. And in that type of activity, I would describe as developmental versus disaster. And it's a complement to our work in the disaster realm. It is more passenger-oriented, whereas disaster response is more cargo-oriented. But I mention this because I think whether you may represent an airline which is a passenger airline or a cargo airline, whether you're a developed or a developing country, or whether you're a legacy or an LCC airline, we believe that if you are interested to work with us, that we will be able to bring to you high-quality humanitarian options. And once we do that, it's totally up to you to decide if that's of interest and to decide how you might take advantage of it. For example, you can donate a flight, which is what most of our members do, or you can offer a capacity at a discounted rate, and it's then up to the NGO, the nonprofit, to decide if they will accept that. So how do you get on board with Airlink? Well, we will plan a webinar with you that you can do at your desk or your people. You'll receive a login password, and you can go into our system, and you can make and accept offers at your own convenience and on your own terms. In order to communicate with us, you can see Barry and myself at the conference. We're manning a booth out here, as Barry indicated. We have a full-time program manager named Ty Prettyman, and his coordinates are listed. And we also have a very good website where you can get all this contact information and a lot more at www.airlink-info.org. If we're successful in our pledge to bring you high-quality humanitarian options, perhaps you will feel the same way that one of Dave Barger's crew members, I think that's the term we use, feels. And in her quote at the end, she references that we've become a very meaningful partner that helps JetBlue meet its goals and give back to the communities that it serves and beyond. So that's our goal for any airline who joins us. I just want to mention that although we do not have a large budget, many of us are volunteers, like Barry and myself. We do have a couple of full-time employees, and raising money is an important element of our activities. I want to thank the airlines and other companies that are listed here for their silent auction items, in particular Etihad, Turkish, and Vueling, who have provided tickets, in most cases business class, And if you've seen these kind of auctions go, you probably know, as I do, that there's some great value here. So on top of doing a service to the community by buying an item that will come to our benefit, you're also potentially putting yourself in the way of a very good deal. So I urge you, as you walk out the door, if you like, put your business card next to a price you think you might be willing to pay for some of these items. In addition, we've got some nose cone models that were donated by Atlantic Models, and unfortunately those are stuck in customs right now. I'd like to have them right here to show you. I'll show you a picture of them in a moment, but we chose JetBlue and Turkish Air in particular as stalwart members of Airlink to provide those models, and Dave Barger has agreed to sign the model, the JetBlue model, and I'll show you a picture in a moment. Also, Vueling Airlines has a model out there that will be signed by its CEO. Pegasus Airlines will be signed by its CEO. And let me just give you an idea. This is a vintage Turkish Airlines, previously Thai, nose cone that we think is really beautiful, and we should have that out there this afternoon. And then here's the JetBlue aircraft for you. So thank you so much for allowing us to present to you today, Peter. A great conference and a wonderful opportunity for Airlink. Have a nice lunch.